Or is it? I mean, how many people have actually oversalted their garden? I've never succeeded yet. I've been dumping. I just finally came to the point like, why am I diluting? I'm just pouring it straight on there. I'll see what happens then. I came to that point. And it was once a month. I'm like, how about every 2 weeks? Dump the darn thing right on there. Straight ocean water. Guess what? No problems at all. I'm like, whoa, that's an education. No oversalting. That's an education. That's a discovery. You can do that in your garden. Now, you don't want to just take, about 5 gallons and dump it right on your tomato plant. That might be too much. But you can dilute it homeopathically. Thank you. Is this ocean water?
Set out, how long did you say in the jugs? Did you say there was a setting period?
Oh, no, you don't have to set it at all. You can use it, and that's how you would keep it. So you keep the ocean water actually reasonably alive. Ocean water is the embryonic fluid of the earth. It's the placental fluid of the earth itself. So it has everything it's needed to live. And
those 10 herbs again?
Oh, yeah, sure. My favorite herbs. First of all, goji berry, #1 in Chinese medicine. There's nothing like a goji berry. It's the most ridiculously powerful food in the world. And it's easy to eat. That's a huge thing. Right? Why is goji berry ranked #1 in Chinese medicine? Well, a big factor is not only its nutritional qualities, which are extraordinary. Complete protein source, one of the highest antioxidant foods in the world, as high as acai. And it's superly loaded in polysaccharides, which help to correct tissue quality imbalances, meaning that you've got to create tissue that, friendly bacteria like to hang out there. And what does that? Polysaccharides. Where is it found? Well, it's in the goji berry. What on top of that? The human growth hormone stimulating factors that goji berry has. It's the only food in the world known to increase human growth hormone naturally. That's ridiculous right there. And then where it ranks historically, how it grows, its adaptability. I mentioned last night that I've been growing goji berries in Hawaii and Central Ontario, Canada, the same goji berries. How could that be? They grow in both ecosystems the same? Yeah. They can survive a Canadian winter? Yeah. Or no winter? Yeah. What? That's called adaptability. That means it's an adaptogen extraordinary. I've never seen any other plant that can adapt like that, ever. No way. Nothing like a goji berry on earth. It's one of the great plants in the world.
Is it high glycemic?
And it's low glycemic, especially if it's grown wildly. I mean, I deal with wild goji berries a lot. I have an Arizona goji berry that I brought to Hawaii, and we grew it. Now we have a full-on goji berry tree over there, a goji berry bush. And it's from the Arizona desert, growing in a tropical environment in Hawaii. Just instantly adapted to that. How is that possible? It's because that's the power. It's the genetic capability of that plant. That's #1 in Chinese medicine, so that probably deserves our definite observation. And if you have kids, boom, no problem. Kids eat goji berries. They love it. You got somebody who's 90 years old, they're like, I'll eat that. You got somebody who's like, well, I'm kind of stressed out, freaked out. They'll eat it. Anybody eats this stuff. Unbelievable. Reishi mushroom.
Spell it.
R-E-I-S-H-I. Ideal in medicinal mushrooms because when you're talking about immune system, there's nothing like it, period. There's nothing better for your immune system than medicinal mushrooms. If you look at antibiotics, the whole science of antibiotics, what they really did is they distorted what they already knew. See, the scientists back then, the doctors back then 100 years ago when they started the whole science of antibiotics, knew where the real antibiotics are found. Where are they found? In mushrooms. That's why you have all these antibiotics. They're like streptomycin. What's myosin? What's that? That's a mushroom. It's extracts of mushrooms. That's where these antibiotics come from. But they're unnatural because they're being drawn out of these synthetically raised mushrooms. Well, where are you going to get that originally in nature? How was it done in the original picture of the earth? Well, it's actually tree mushrooms. The mushrooms from trees. That's where you get the really strong antibiotic compounds that are the noble mushrooms of the earth. When we stopped living in forests, that's when we really got into trouble. That happened thousands of years ago. Because when you're in a forest, you have everything you need. You don't need anything else. I live in a forest, I know that. I mean, it's like ridiculous how much food is available all year round, even in the Canadian forest, even in the middle of the winter. I'll show you pictures. The people are like, no, you're gonna starve. No, you won't. Not even close. You can't starve anywhere on earth. You cannot starve. People only starve because of ignorance. Imagine. Actually, people should probably be starving right now. It's probably a good idea. In America, at least. 60 million people die each year from being overweight, and then there's 60 million people die each year on planet Earth from starving? It's exactly balanced. It's some weird statistic like that. Isn't that crazy? When people starve to death, what really is happening? They're eating one thing, like say, white rice and nothing else, and they have all kinds of nutritional imbalances, and then they're not getting enough hydration, and then next thing you know, they're soaking in their own waste, and that's actually what causes starvation. I don't know, if I was in the desert, I'd just start walking somewhere and had water or something, wouldn't you? I don't know, I guess I'm just like you. I'm just like, why don't those people go somewhere else? Or bring trees in. That's what we've been doing that in India with our fruit tree planting foundation. We just put it well in, we put 200 trees in the desert. Then you got shade. Once you have shade, all of a sudden the water table starts coming back up because it's not being pushed down by the sun. Just a thought. Read The Man Who Planted Trees by Jean Giono. Please. You can read it in 20 minutes. The Man Who Planted Trees. We're going to get into that. Anyway, so reishi mushroom, next thing, maitake mushroom, another tree mushroom. Hen of the woods, chicken of the woods. Tastes like chicken.
Where do you get your mushrooms?
Where do I get my mushrooms? I either get them wildly from the forest or I consume the techno mushrooms. I brought here actually Mushroom Sciences mushrooms, which I really like. That's a really great company. Those are techno mushrooms, meaning that they are technically grown and analyzed to have the high medicinal beta-glucan levels, which is the polysaccharide actually. So polysaccharides are super powerful immune system helpers, and they also rebuild our tissue in order to be friendly to friendly bacteria. Most of us is not us. Have we figured that out yet? How many people know about that? We have 5 pounds of bacteria in us and 100 times more bacteria in terms of cells than we have cells in our body. On and in us, on and around us. So if we create an environment where the friendly bacteria go, we're not going there. I don't want to be over there. We're going over here. Then the bad guys show up, and then that's called candida, that's called dysbiosis, it's a zodiac sign, I can't say it, it's illegal. If you're born in July, what's that word called? What was that again?
Cancer.
Oh, what was it again?
Cancer.
We're talking about the zodiac sign of Cancer. Friendly guys don't want to hang out there. How do you rebuild your tissue so the friendly guys want to hang out there? Good word to know about. Polysaccharide, long chain sugar. Because you're going to find out that right there is the future of nutrition. That's where it's going. And you're going to find out that actually anything that has a high amount of polysaccharides in it is really, really good for you. And not only really good for you, but it tends to start fixing like, I don't have joint problems anymore. My eyesight's improving. My nervous system works. My digestion's getting better. Oh my God, I feel the best ever by far. All that kind of comes about. It's like, oh man, what a relief. We are really suffering from specific mineral deficiencies, and those minerals that we need are actually bound up in the polysaccharides. And what minerals are they? Actually, they're the minerals that don't even show up on the periodic table of the elements. What if we were studying the periodic table of the elements? You know what I'm talking about? Calcium, sulfur, iodine, phosphorus, vanadium, chromium, iodine. And then found out, whoa, wait a second, those are all cool, but they're really a small amount of those that we need. What if there's a whole class of minerals we didn't even know existed that we really needed? We didn't even know were there. That appears to be the case. Shocking truth be told, that appears to be the case. Any students of chemistry here, physics? Mendelev's periodic table of the elements apparently has 3 dimensions, not 2. And there's infolded metals, the Ormus elements. And they actually exist in our body in a rate of 10 times higher than all the trace minerals combined. How could that be? How do we make that mistake? It's because we misidentified carbon and called all carbon carbon, when actually a lot of what we're calling carbon isn't actually carbon at all. Right? You've heard this? We're a carbon-based life form. How many people have heard this? Nope, we're not. We're partly carbon. We've got a lot of other stuff going on. These are discoveries, shocking truth be told. Now here's the thing. It's all theoretical until you can produce a result. So I'll produce a result for you. You get dosed up on the polysaccharides, goji berries, the medicinal mushrooms, grasses grown properly with ocean water, bee products, honey, bee pollen. And you start getting those polysaccharides in your body, you start going, okay, there's something in here that ain't in everything else. Not in any of those mineral supplements that you get or any of that stuff. What is it? It's high energy particles that are trapped in the polysaccharide. They're able to be contained in that polysaccharide. And you can grow food in such a way where you can grow goji berries where it has more of that in it.
How do you do that?
Aloe vera, noni can be grown where there's more. Aloe vera is all polysaccharides. Noni's all polysaccharides. That's the magic of it. Now you take noni in, you go like, what? I can't believe this. I remember drinking my first noni. I'm not talking about noni juice. I'm talking about fresh noni. Drinking the first of it, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of high or something's going on. What is this? I feel better than I've ever felt in my whole life. What's going on? How could this be? Then I thought, okay, let me just drink another one. Next thing I know, the whole retreat, everybody, we're all drinking it.
The aloe is all grown wild around, but how do you know which is edible and which isn't?
Almost all aloe is edible, but there is a toxic load at some point. But that's true of any food. You can have too much water. So what you really want is what's called the king aloe, which is the giant aloe. It has the big, thick leaves. It doesn't have any white specks in it. The stuff with the white specks in it, really good for your skin. You can eat it, but you don't want to eat the skin of aloe ever. Never eat the skin. You always fillet out the gel out, and then you go until the point where you go, I'm good. There is always a toxic level of any food. You know, you can have a toxic level of fried chicken. Well, that's any level. You know what I mean. And this, this book, Amazing Grace, that I have, it lists out all these high polysaccharide foods that we know right now are like super ridiculous, just where we're at right now. And we're just at the beginning of understanding all this stuff. But I know it works because I've grown aloe vera where I have dumped so much sea salt, dead sea salt, the stuff that contains these high energy particles in it, that you would think that tree, how could that plant be alive? There's so much salt in there that there's no way it can take it, but it can take it. Aloe can take it. And then I grew an aloe vera plant to genetic perfection, where it was actually a genetically perfect specimen. There wasn't a speck, a blotch, of nothing on it, the whole plant. And people would come into my office and be like, oh, what's going on with your aloe vera plant? What's going on over there? People would be freaked out by it. They'd be like, what's going on with that plant over there? So one day I decided I'm going to go take a picture of it, show it to people, because people don't believe you. I'm going to show you stuff you won't believe. I'll show you pictures, you'll go, oh, okay, maybe, whoa. It's one of those, because in America, seeing is believing. In reality, though, believing is seeing. You cannot even see it unless you can believe it. You wouldn't have been able to walk in that door unless you could believe it, right? You couldn't even get in that door. So really, believing is seeing.
How much
So,
mushrooms, sir?
how much ocean water?
No, how much mushrooms would you eat? Because you were talking about regenerating tissue and everything else.
Yeah, oh yeah, as much as you can. Here's the thing about polysaccharides. The upper limit is really an upper limit. I mean, you cannot believe how many medicinal mushrooms you can take each day. The techno extracts, crazy amounts. And actually what it does, it gets you in your joints. You're like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And the immune system, complete rejuvenation of the immune system. If you look at where the problems are today, where people have problems, teeth, eyes, immune system, skin, hair, nails, and very much in particular, the depth of the joints. Okay, what's that? Why is that happening? Why is it those specific areas? And it's mineral deficiencies, but not the minerals that we're taught about. It's not a mineral deficiency of calcium. It's a mineral deficiency of something that's associated with silicon. What's that? It's something associated with polysaccharides. What is that? Well, I've been on this for years, just that question alone. And actually, it's cracked. We cracked a long time ago, actually. And what it is that there's high energy particles in the atmosphere, in the geosphere, that come up through plants. It's in plant sap, and they avoid, those minerals avoid being exposed to light, heat, and oxygen, and EMF fields as well. And therefore, they are not present, or they change or biologically transmutate into other minerals when they're analyzed through our normal scientific spectroscopic signature analysis technology, which is actually more of a cut, burn, poison theory of analysis. Is this making sense to everybody? Meaning that you can have a biological transmutation or a nuclear transformation of one atom into another, depending on what you're using to test it. Like you burn up something, you can have a nuclear transformation of material there. Now that's a violation of Lavoisier's law, which says you can't have calcium turn into something else unless you have a nuclear explosion. And the facts apparently say that is absolutely incorrect. That's definitely incorrect. Anybody can do the experiments at home. You take seeds, sprout them in distilled water, you'll see that the mineral ratios will change. You take the seed, you ash it, and you analyze it. You take the same seed, you put it in distilled water, let it sprout, and then analyze that and ash it, and you'll see that the mineral ratios have changed. How could they change? Isn't it exactly the same? Where is it coming from? And that has been known since the beginning of time. And we went Looney Tunes. We went Looney Tunes. We went so far into some theories that don't even make any sense whatsoever. That's ridiculous. Now we're getting sensible again. And that is the nuclear theory that atoms can't change one to the other is a bad theory. And what it led to, here's what it led to, here's how it's affecting your life right now. Calcium supplements. You want to get calcified, you go out early, take calcium supplements. You want to be on the planet a long time, get off calcium. Get away from it as quickly as you can. Because calcium doesn't create calcium in your bones. That's a bad theory. That's the worst theory ever. It's causing all kinds of problems because when somebody has arthritis, bad calcium. When somebody has a coronary heart problem, bad calcium. Somebody has cataracts, bad calcium. Someone that has hard of hearing, they've got bad calcium in the ear. Stuff on the teeth, plaque, bad calcium. You cannot name one illness or disease that's not related to bad calcium. So guess what you shouldn't be eating? You better believe it. Get off calcium. They found out in South Africa years ago that when they studied the native people, like they have no calcium in their diet. How come they have such beautiful teeth? What's going on here? And the reason is because they're biologically transmutating magnesium and silicon into calcium. And actually another thing that's going on too is that the ormus elements, that the hidden matter, the female matter, that's the third dimension on Mendelev's periodic table of the elements, can be transmutated up into calcium and other minerals. It's more enfolded actually, and it can be outfolded into other minerals that we didn't even know about. You see where we're getting at here? Now, this is something that's not theoretical. I can deliver you a result instantly from this information. Right? You take the medicinal mushrooms, you'll see transformation in your immune system within days, sometimes within minutes, that fast, because it's instantly absorbable. I cracked a tooth in the back of my mouth here when I was 14 years old on a piece of beef. Hamburger. There was a bone in it. It cracked my tooth back here. I had it filled. I was upset. Because I don't like dentists. No offense to dentists, but anybody who puts mercury in somebody's mouth, they got to be other than intelligent. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm with you. It's like mercury. By the way, mercury is way more toxic than DDT. Mercury is by far the most toxic substance in all of nature. Why are we putting that in our mouth? Does that sound strange to you? It sounded strange to me. And I was really upset about it. So I had this mercury filling back here. Finally, years later, a really cool dentist said, I'm gonna actually take all your mercury out for free because of the work you do. I was like, man, ooh, thank you. He was a super hardcore animal rights activist. And so he took it all out and he put a composite filling in. He took all my mercury out, put a composite filling in there. That fell out. I'm not real happy about this. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave it. See what happens. That was 10 years ago. Over the years, I've been able to manage it. It's not gotten better, it's not gotten worse. But in the last couple of months, it's gotten better because I've been taking Ormus Gold and putting it right on that tooth every day, right on it. And I've been noticing, it's like, oh, it feels better than it has in years.
Almost gold?
Ormus Gold. What is Ormus Gold? It's one of those Ormus elements, those hidden elements in nature, those elements that are found in medicinal mushrooms that rebuild your joints, rebuild your immune system, rebuild your skin, hair, and nails, rebuild your eyes. And you can put it directly on your skin. It's just like a mineral supplement, but it's the right kind of mineral supplement. And it works topically. You don't have to ingest it. You just put it topically on, it goes right in. And so I've been just putting it right on top of that tooth. And I've been noticing, it's getting better. It's getting better.
Where did you get that oil from?
Where do we make it? It took me 13 and a half years to crack that technology of how to take gold metal and push it back to its original state, which is Ormus Gold. All metals come into existence. You know, metals like copper, metals like tin, metals like aluminum, metals like iron come into existence because in the earth they aren't a metal. They are actually, in the original formation of the earth, they're actually in an infolded form called the Ormus state, which is like silica or carbon. And they've been mistaken for silica or carbon. That's our big mistake, scientifically. That's the biggest mistake ever, actually. Because the ancients knew about it, the Egyptians knew about it, the ancient Chinese knew about it, and we got so far down the pipe of not being able to analyze things, because you cannot analyze these things using a spectroscope because they come up as carbon or silica. You have to be more clever than that. And when you finally look at it, break it down, you go, okay, wait a second. This stuff is all over the place. But as soon as it gets exposed to the atmosphere and the sun, it transmutates into the metal. It becomes a metal. And the seams of metals in the earth were once at the surface of the earth, and they were transmutated by the sun and the atmosphere, and then through cataclysms and stuff, it was driven into the earth. But gold in the world is not mined out of the earth. You know, this is a big myth. Where does gold come from? Gold mining is a very poor way to get gold. The best way to get gold is in rivers. Rivers show up in California. Like, the only reason they stopped the gold rush in California is because they were using mercury to get every last little bit. They polluted the San Francisco Bay because it came down the Yuba River and the American River. But there's still tons of gold in every river in California. All you have to do is just go scrape across. I have a friend who does this. Scrape across those rivers, create little divots, and every single year as the summer comes and the water goes down, you will see gold in every little divot. It's a heavy metal. It drops to the bottom, so it'll get caught up down there. You just go take that out, and he makes about $4,000 a month just on free gold on his property. It's in the rivers. Where is it coming from? Is it washing out of old mines? No, it's not. It's being created as the river vortexes and pulls up the sediment. It's kicking up this ormus gold, which looks like silica, and through the action of the sun, as the heat comes and the summer comes, it flips it into metallic gold, which has an affinity for itself, so it starts clumping up together, creating gold ore. Next thing you know, you have a nugget of gold. Now, I know that, and the reason why I know that is because I've been playing around with this stuff from an alchemicals perspective for years. And I can take a bottle of our ormus gold right there and send it to a laboratory, and it comes back as carbon, silica, and water. I can take that same bottle, pour it into a bowl, leave it out in the sun, and it flips to gold, and then send that to a lab, and it comes back as gold, silica, and water. That definitely indicates that there's a big problem. It means, whoa, wait a second, there's stuff out there that is being misidentified. Now these are facts. That's not a guess. That's a fact. And how do you take advantage of it? You just redirect what the inflow of food is that's coming into your body. First of all, get off those mineral supplements. Get off of calcium for sure. That's extremely dangerous. And get on to things that actually contain this high energy particles, because this is the infolded stuff that can become everything you need, and it's the stuff that makes you younger. Here's how Steiner said it. Any Steiner fans in here? Here's how Steiner said it. Calcium gravitates you and pulls you right back into the earth. Read Limestone to Lucifer. It's on. I can pull up the exact passage. You want to see the passage? It's in my notes. Let's see here. Limestone to Lucifer. Steiner on silica. Listen to this. I'm going to try to cut so we just don't read this whole thing as long. Oh, there it is, okay. You see, I now come to the part of the question put by Mr. Burrell. Imagine, therefore, I have a person before me who is sick in some way, and I can say to myself, the problem with him is that he has too few forces that act out into cosmic space. Another way of saying that is levitative forces, right? As soon as we gravitate, we gravitate down. Really, what we all want to accumulate is forces or minerals that levitate up. That's what creates juice in your joints. Does that make sense to everybody?
Wow.
That forces that gravitate us push us down the ground. That's calcium. It gravitates us and turns us back into stone, drives us into the ground. And forces that naturally levitate, right? A tree's levitating every day, and it's doing it without heat. What is it that does that? How could a tree elevate itself without heat or friction? And actually what's happening is it's displacing the force of gravity, and the minerals that levitate naturally fall upwards and make the tree. And as they outfold, they harden and they become another mineral, but in their original state, they're an enormous mineral. Does this make any sense to anybody?
Wow.
Okay, now that's what we want. We want the stuff that has levitative qualities in it. That's why I say spring water. You want the best water ever? Go to spring water. Why? Because it levitates, comes out the top of the mountains. That's what you want. You want to be able to, you want that levitational energy inside you. This is what Steiner said in 1923. The problem with him is that he has too few forces that act out in the cosmic space. He has too much of the forces of gravity. All kinds of things are getting deposited in him. Now, deposited, what does that mean? Calcification. deposits, gout, arthritis. Those are deposits that are being deposited out. Then I remember, wow, silica has once been something that made forces radiate out into cosmic space, meaning levitational qualities. If I prepare silica in such a way that the old powers come alive again in it, that is, I make a medicine of silica, adding other substances, so that the silica regains its old and ether powers. If I give that to the person, I can make him well, and one can get very good results with this silica medicine. Silica? What does that do anything? Other we need calcium, don't we? You need silica, actually, and you need, the reason why you need silica, you don't even need the silica. Silica is a carrier of something else. That's why you're going to find silica wound up with all these high energy particles in the biosphere, in water, for example. In good spring water, you're going to find this high silica. What's that? It's holding, it's the carrier of high energy particles, which is the levitational elements that you all want. Everybody wants that, they just don't know it. Has everybody here excited about dying? Who just is enthralled with pain? Really wants to have more pain in their life? Who wants to have like arthritis? Who's really excited about arthritis? Does anybody here wants heart disease? Is that we want that? No? How are we going to stop getting that stuff? Well, food that's heated with fire immediately becomes gravitational, and it starts pushing us right back in the ground. Because that heat, that energy, the fire is an energy of gravity. It's an energy that comes from the sun and pushes down on us. By the way, the whole Einstein theory of gravity and all that is really got us screwed up. Because we believe that gravity is intrinsic to everything and we're gravitating and all that. No wonder we're creating such a mess. Right? All we have to do is look out there and go, actually things are levitating. That tree! How did the tree get up there? Here's what Newton forgot to ask. It's awesome. Now I'm going to take you into goji land, because we're going to look at what the goji berry really looks like.
Wow, look at this.
Here's an interesting image, because this image right here could be an image from Tibet, it could be an image from China, Mongolia. Where do you think it's from?
Hawaii.
Arizona.
Oh, that's that.
Wild goji berry. There they are.
Yeah, this is wild goji berry. We aim to try that. But that's right.
Wow.
You start eating raw food, you're going to end up in places like this.
Yeah.
But you've seen orbs, right, in pictures?
Yes.
Have you ever seen orbs?
Yeah.
Okay, here's one for you. How about blue orbs? Well, first of all, look at this water. This is not Photoshop. That's the picture I took. Look at that water. It's in the Grand Canyon. Amazing spot. That's the Colorado River. This is the very last spot before it goes on the Colorado River. When we got here, I think that was the best I've ever felt in my entire life. This is one of the greatest spots in the world. This is Havasupai Canyon in the Grand Canyon. It's one of the canyons that leads into the Grand Canyon, and it bleeds this crystal marine, aquamarine blue water that is the most healing water on the planet Earth. It is unbelievable. You get in there for 1 minute, you are completely rejuvenated, healed, all pain is gone. I hiked in one day 30 miles. And I'm not talking about 30 miles like straight. I'm talking about over rocks and like a whole thing. Got up at 5, hit it hard, went for it full on, all the way from Havasupai Village, all the way to the Grand Canyon, or to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, to the Colorado River, and back, and did not have one blister. Now, how's that possible? And the reason is because that water, when you get, and I'm going in and out of water with shoes. Now, with the Keen shoes, there's no way. When you hike 30 miles, you clip the inside of your ankles constantly, and it was raw. But as soon as you go in that water, it heals you instantly. And I was thinking, my God, I'd never realized. I'd been down there a number of times, but I never realized how powerful that water really is for healing. It is really ridiculous. Let me just show you something really fascinating about this place. This particular spot right here. When you jump into that water right there, it's 37 degrees Fahrenheit measured with the temperature gun. The temperature in the atmosphere is 100 degrees.
Wow.
Now how's that? What's going on there? You think, oh yeah, no problem, it's 100 degrees out, jump in the cold water, whatever. Then you're in that water for 10 minutes, and if you swim all the way to the bottom of that waterfall, when you swim back, it's actually so cold, you feel like you could die. Like you feel like you might not make it. It's that cold. But because of that hyper rejuvenation quality that water has at that temperature, water gets better as it gets colder. Anybody know about that? The warmer water gets, it's like the atmosphere, the denser it is and the more gunk is in it, it's not able to clean itself off. The colder the air is, the cleaner it is. We know that. We've all felt that. Water is the same way. Now water has an anomaly temperature which is just above freezing, 4 degrees centigrade. That's right when it has its highest energy, and it's also specifically dense. That's the exact temperature of that water, by the way. It's right in that range, 37, 38, 39.2 Fahrenheit. And when you're in that range, water is specifically dense, has the most energy, and it's very difficult to move water out of that temperature. Did you know that? To push water in any direction away from that temperature is difficult. You have to use a lot of energy to move it 1 degree colder or 2 degrees colder or warmer. Anyway, there's something very anomalous going on with that water there, and it's the most healing water I've ever been in. And hey, you just find out about these things on the path. But let me show you this orb picture. This is really a special picture.
Wow.
Blue orbs. Look at that, just the light just shining right on her. Looks like a spotlight.
Wow.
Blue orbs, there they are.
Do you know if you ask them to come into the picture, they'll appear?
What's that?
If you just, when you're taking a photograph and you ask them to appear, they'll show themselves?
That's a great idea, I never heard that before. I think you show a few more images here. Okay, you want to see paradise? Here's paradise right here. Right. That's a good lunch spot. That's where you eat your raw food.
Wow.
So paradise is actually here on Earth. It's always been here. We just weren't aware of it. We're often, somewhere else. All these places are here. We can get there for the first time ever in human history. You can get to all the spots, the special spots, the spots that have the hyper healing qualities in the water. You don't have to go to the Himalayas with the yogis. You can go to places in America that nobody even knows about. Nobody goes there. Look how many people are in that picture. There's nobody there. Nobody cares. How many people do you think are swimming in that water every day?
Not many.
None. Why? It's too cold. No, it's too cold. Too cold. I'm not going there. Having what nobody else wants. It's kind of interesting. That's stepping into abundance. You can have what nobody else wants because they don't even want it. They'd rather, they're off there eating fried chicken. And it's like, oh yeah, I can, oh, yeah, we'll have it all. Look at that. Look at that. One person right there. The most extraordinary place on earth in the Grand Canyon. Look at this. Oh, it's freezing. But you get so rejuvenated. I mean, every pain out of your body is sucked right out. Because why? Because the energy of cold water is much higher than the energy of warm water. That's why when you jump into ice cold water and you jump out, you are completely rejuvenated. The Russians in their history of longevity science found out two things common amongst all centenarians. And they found out that one, they were almost always beekeepers. And that means they ate honey, bee pollen, and royal jelly nearly daily. That was one thing they found out. Number two, they found out they were completely crazy about jumping into ice cold water. So I don't know, I started out, I was like, I'm not taking cold showers, forget that. But then I got into it, and I got into like, okay, it's March in Canada, I'm cutting a hole in the ice, I'm jumping in. I just want to see what happens. So I started doing it, and wow, it really does something that's nothing else can do. First thing it does, you jump out and you're instantly warm. Right? You're like freezing out. There's no way you're taking your clothes off. That's ridiculous. Then you do that, you jump in the ice cold water, you come out and you're like, oh yeah, it's perfect, no problem. You walk around nude for 10 minutes in the winter. That's what ice cold water is all about. It has a huge amount of energy in it. It revitalizes you, and you notice that you have a certain energy of freshness about you from jumping into cold water. Now, warm water, what does that do to you?
It's relaxing.
I don't know.
Like that.
Wild goji berries at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. There they are. 7 layers of the Earth's crushed to a powder, and it's the growth medium for that goji berry. We ate every single goji berry on that bush. Every one. I couldn't believe the taste. The flavor, because of all those minerals crushed down to a powder. The powder was so powerful that I had a water bottle, I filled it up with the silt at the bottom of there and hiked it 14 miles back. I hiked it all the way back and then brought it all the way to Canada and put on my grapes. You should see the grape vineyards. Wait till you see the grape vineyards that were down there. Wild grape vineyards. Paradises, here they are, right here, look at this. That's all wild grape vineyards. See the grapes right there? That's all grapes. Here, all the way through the Grand Canyon, all those canyons are loaded with wild grapes. The greatest grapes in the world, nobody knows, nobody cares. I ate the fronds, the growth fronds that come out of the grape. If you look very closely, you'll see it. Watch. That's one of the guys we just met that guy on the way down. He'd never heard of cacao, never heard of raw food. Man, his life was changed that day. See the growth tip of the grape right there? Okay, so theoretically, that's where the ormus is. Right there at the growth tip, that's where those minerals are that can become other minerals. So that's what I did. I was like, okay, let me just test this theory. Boom, let me just eat those. I ate those all day. I felt mineralization changes in my teeth in one day from doing just that. That's taking the theory, converting it to a practice, and achieving a result. Therefore, the theory is not even a theory anymore. You're starting to get results. That's science. That's natural science. What we're dealing with right now is not actually scientific. You know that. The calcium theory is not scientific at all. In fact, if you look at the nations that consume the most calcium, they have the worst osteoporosis. So our calcium theory is actually all about selling products. Right? And it has nothing to do with anything having to do, it has nothing to do with science. In fact, when you look at all our science, you find out it doesn't have anything to do with science at all. It's sold as science, like this is science, we got great scientists here, we have lab coats and vending machines, we've got everything sorted out.
It's marketing.
And really what it is marketing, right? Advertisements. Look at this, the Titanic scale. This is just looking at the wall. That's how deep we were into that canyon. Look at that. Look at that. Incredible stuff. Okay, I'm going to take you down now. Somebody brought a blow-up, like one of those little things. I said, I'm taking that thing out there. It's cool. This is unbelievable. It's cool. They say, can I borrow that? Look at that waterfall. Look at that thing.
Wow.
Aquamarine. Little alchemical laboratory right there. All marble, like the Greek ideal of beauty. And in that canyon right there, it's all marble pools, aquamarine, wild figs, wild grapes, and I had to believe that the ancient Greeks, somewhere in their imagination, saw this place, and that became their picture of paradise, which was Olympus. And it's right there. You can go to it. And there's nobody there. Nobody cares. That's not, people don't value this. What do people value?
The Marriott.
A yacht, a car, television shows, right? That's what people value. So actually you go there, guess what it costs you?
Zero.
Nothing. In fact, the Native Americans let us stay at their places there because we bring them goodies. Like here, here's goji berries. They love it. Chocolate, here, there's our chocolates, eat those. They love it. They're stoked. They cannot believe that there's actually people coming down there who enjoy nature. They can't believe it. Isn't that interesting? It's like, what is valued in the world actually has no value, and as soon as you value what it actually has value, nobody wants it. So it's all free. I don't know, that's kind of a cosmic view to look at. Look, all grapes. All grapes. Wild. Look at that. The most ridiculous vineyard on earth. There it is, right there in the Grand Canyon. Grape, by the way, is also right on the octave of gold, right on the octave of cacao, right on the octave of vitamin C. Grape, and you'll see it. It's in all the coat of arms of the great families of Europe. You'll see the grapevine is in there because it represents nobility. And how do you get that? Well, you do what they forgot to do in the 60s, if you recall what we talked about last night. Flower power, putting the flour in the gun and all that. How about eating the flour? And if you eat flowers, your shit really does smell like roses. It's true.
So are they white or red grapes?
They're on Concord grapes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're wild Concord grapes with the seeds in it.
Now, do you chew the seeds?
Oh, sure, you break up the seeds. There is so much wild food available on this earth. There's no way anybody could eat it all. There's no way any creature could eat it all. Most of it just falls right back on the planet. It is so crazy. Look at that. Every single one of those is loaded to the hilt in grapes. To the hilt, there's no way. The whole thousands of people couldn't eat it all.
Wow.
How did you find your way up here? Was there a path, or did you just?
Well, you can find your way to Havasupai village because that's a place where people are allowed to go and camp. And then below that, you kind of have to find your way. Now, there's pathways down there, but it's not just a straight pathway. I mean, it took us, we hiked 30 miles in one day, and it was not just like, oh, we're just walking down the sidewalk. It's like you have to climb over rocks. We made mistakes. We had to backtrack a bunch of times, and you have to climb down cliffs, and it's pretty intense. It's a very intense experience, but it was one of the best experiences in my life, definitely. Look at that place.
How long did you stay down there once you got there?
We just did that one full day down there. So we did, well, Havasupai we stayed for about 5 days. Look at these grapes right there. See the end of the growth tip? See it right there? That right there? That's applying knowledge intelligently. That if you're going to eat anything of the plant, the growth tip, the young growth, deer are on this. Deer know they will go and nibble the young buds on the trees in the wintertime. That's where the energy is. That's where you're going to find the minerals. And boom, that's what you do. So you just nibble this part right down right here, and you will see that actually builds your bone. This contains absolutely no calcium. There's no calcium in there at all. It has nothing to do with calcium. What's in there? Who can tell me what's in this? Ormus and silica. That's where the silica is. It's in the young growth, the shoots, the budding plants.
That would be in sprouts.
Sprouts, exactly. We're getting smart now. We're getting smart now.
Eat more sprouts.
This is interesting. In the cycles of nature, the young sprouts contain the silica. As the sprouts mature and become a plant, then it's calcium. The amount of silica to calcium will switch on a 3-time ratio, meaning there'll be 3 times as much silica when it's small and young, and then that silica drops down, all of a sudden it's calcium. The plant then dies, drops calcium on the ground. The grasses then take the calcium, and the young grasses pull the calcium in. Young grass has high calcium, and then as the grass matures, it's high silica, and it drops the silica back down. And then the young plants, the sprouts, will pick up the silica, and they'll convert it to calcium, and that's how the cycle works. So we see in nature a transmutation cycle where minerals are transmutated from carbon and silica up to calcium, and then back from calcium back down again. And the reason why I'm saying that is because calcium is at the end of the line. It's an excretion that you secrete. You don't want to be taking in the calcium that's a secretion of an organism that's already, produced it. You always want to be on the front end, which is you take in the silica and the ormus that helps you secrete calcium or create it.
So if someone has osteoporosis, what foods besides the sprouts?
Excellent question. Okay, let's say somebody has osteoporosis. I'm going to give you a little formula here.
Yeah, and not just the foods, but also the herbs and supplements.
Yeah, I'll just nail it all down for you right here. Okay, number 1 in terms of like what to do about osteoporosis is stop taking calcium. Number 1, period, end of story. Okay, get off it immediately because that causes osteoporosis, right? Because you're taking in an end product, your body's going, whoa, we're trying to deal with the calcium problem we already have. Now we've got this other thing coming in. We're in trouble now. So that's number 1. Number 2 is start taking herbs that are high in silica. Now sprouts are high in silica, we know that. But let's get real specific with what has a lot of silica in it. Number 1 in traditional European folk herbalism is horsetail, Equisetum arvens, which is a really powerful, very, very ancient plant on the earth. Let me show you a picture of it. This is horsetail that we picked from my house. Right here. That's horsetail, wild horsetail behind beaver dams.
Wow.
Which has been around since the dinosaurs.
It's been around since the dinosaurs. It's one of the most ancient life forms on the earth, one of the most ancient plants. That's horsetail. It's very high in silica. You would literally just go pick that, hang dry it, and then just make teas out of it. That's one way to do it. You can eat it just like that, although if you eat a ton of it, it has a vitamin B1 inhibitor in it, and you can reach a saturation, you can start inhibiting B vitamin metabolism. When you dry it and powder it, that goes away, or when you dry it and make a tea out of it, that goes away. Silica is soluble in water, so it'll come into the water when you make a tea out of it. So you make a horsetail tea, nettle tea. Nettles would be in there too. And we saw the picture of the curling photograph of the nettle, if you recall that. Great herb, really one of my favorites ever by far. Awesome. Let's go back to the nettle, show you that real quick. There it is. There you see the nettle down there. Okay, then the next one would be hemp leaf, which is illegal right now, but it's gonna fall. They can't stop it forever. It's the whole laws are crumbling. You know, the whole the war on drugs is not a war on drugs. It's a war to keep pharmaceutical drugs perfectly legal and get everything else off the market. It's called monopoly. You ever play that game? Teaches you a lot about how the world works. So we got to get on to like, okay, what did George Washington eat? What did Thomas Jefferson eat? Guess what they ate? Hemp leaf every day in their salad. It's really powerful because it's super high in silica and has natural sodium in it. So it's a tremendous mineralizer. Women, if we want to defeat osteoporosis forever, let's legalize hemp growing and start eating hemp leaf and drinking hemp tea every single day. I did an experiment. This was interesting. When I was in New York City living there, I was making a tea. I had snuck over some hemp leaf from Europe because hemp leaf is legal in Europe. Of course, it's illegal in the U.S. because the war on drugs. We're going to stop drugs. 28 years ago with Nancy Reagan, now it's worse than ever, but we're stopping the war, stopping drugs. Anyway, I left it out. I just got so busy, I just left the tea out for like a week, and I didn't even I didn't even drink it or anything like that. I just sat out there open. And I was like noticing that it didn't go bad. And so my roommate showed up and I said, what's going on? You have an idea why this tea didn't go off? And she said, oh, it's hemp leaf. I said, really? She said, yeah, it's hemp leaf. I said, oh, okay. So then I did an experiment. I started doing the most powerful Amazonian herbs and just leaving them sit there. Made the tea and just let it sit there and found out after about 5, 6, 7 days they'd go off. And then I would make the same tea and put hemp leaf in it and it wouldn't go off. Now that's interesting because our belief might have been that the Amazonian herbs are the most powerful antifungal, antimicrobial, antibacterial substances in the world, but they are not. Hemp leaf trumps them all. It trumps them all. Now that is significant.
What do you mean it wouldn't go off?
Meaning that it didn't get bacteria or little critters growing in it and gunk growing in there. Now, we'll look at what we have with hemp leaf. We have the hemp leaf minerals, which are silica and sodium, which are really powerful minerals for remineralization for a number of reasons, as we've discussed. Then we have the antimicrobial action, which is as powerful, like in terms of candida. Like what's going to wipe candida out? Hemp leaf.
Really?
Yeah. What's illegal? It's more drugs. Well, how can we get it? How can we get it? We got to start saying to our whoever it is, whoever those guys are, whatever they're doing.
Is that the same as sun hemp?
Sun hemp is a relative, but it is not hemp. And I don't know the chemical properties of sun hemp, although sun hemp grows all the way through Appalachia and all the way down to here. It's a very powerful weed.
So where can you get this?
Illegal drug?
Yeah, illegal drug. You can get it in Canada. You can get it. If you're clever, you might be able to get it here. You can store it.
Does it work the same when you smoke it, or not?
No, it's not at all the same when you smoke it. No,
Are you saying that we should all be smoking them?
No, I'm not saying that. I don't believe in smoking hemp or marijuana because it's against the nature of the plant. That's why people have that paranoia side. It's because, you see, hemp or marijuana, that plant, what it really is the protector of the garden. You're supposed to have a hemp plant or a marijuana plant right in the middle of your garden, and then that tells you, it's the indicator plant. It tells you if you've got too much water, too little, don't have enough minerals, what kind of minerals you need. It tells you all those things if you observe it. Not only that, if you grow hemp year after year after year in your garden, the stalks of hemp don't degrade. That's why hemp fibers are so powerful. They last forever. And that means that the hemp leaves, or the hemp stalks will stay there and it will protect your garden because you'll have sticks all through your garden, and the animals can't get in there because they get poked. The deer come in there, they get poked, and they don't want to come into your garden.
Oh, wow.
You seeing this here? That's how you fence
gotta
without
start
fence.
growing.
That's how you
That's
farm
our
without
fence.
fences. That's how you farm without fences. You create an environment where the deer and the animals don't want to come in. Plus, those sticks then become growing environments for your cucumbers, your tomatoes, all the things, your goji berries that vine up the hemp. Isn't that sensible?
Yes.
Can you grow it from the seed, the hemp seed?
Meanwhile, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so now let's keep going. Hold on. Alfalfa is really high in silica. Alfalfa is excellent. And that's another super powerful herb to throw into the mix. Horsetail, nettle, hemp leaf, alfalfa. One last one, oat straw. Oat straw. Oat is a really powerful grass in general. I mean, of all the grasses, personally for me, oat is kind of where it's at. I mean, I'm going to sow my wild oats at some point. Our sex therapist just left. She missed that part. Got to sow your wild oats. What is it about oats? Oats have a couple things interesting. One is that they absorb high energy particles better than almost any other plant in the world. What are those high energy particles? Hormone elements. So if you grow oats in your backyard or oat grass instead of wheat grass, you're going to get a better kick. You're going to get a little bit more out of that. I've noticed just people who show up to my seminars who are over 80, I usually say, well, you know, I should probably listen to what you're eating. What do you eat? And guess what I find out that they eat almost all the time in every case? Oats. What's in oats? Silica. What does that mean? It has the humus in it. What does that mean? It builds your bones. So if you eat the oat seed and the oat grass, you've really got something going on there. And the oat straw, which is the part that the outside of where the seed is, you throw that into your tea, then you got a really good mineralizer that you can make a tea out of. So the entire plant is useful. Oat is really a useful plant. I started learning about oats from just sowing my wild oats, like literally going and eating wild oats, like wild oat grass. It's just a grass like wheatgrass. I started chewing on it and started observing it, started studying it. Next thing I know, it's like, whoa, wait a second, this thing's got really something interesting going on here.
Are you talking about tea with boiled water or just sun tea?
Okay, those are our only choices. So the choice was, is it going to be sun tea or boiled water? What other choices are there?
Just steeping?
There's steeping. What else? Just cold steeping. What other choices? Moon tea.
Ooh.
That's another choice.
Ooh.
How about this? How about heating the water without boiling it? That's another choice. What else is there?
Juicing.
You could blend the herb with the water. That's another choice. So there's multiple extraction techniques that are possible here. What do you think is best? Just steeping it is best. Sometimes that doesn't get it all out. You could blend it and then steep it. That might work a little bit better. Or you could heat it without boiling it. Now, water's temperature where it becomes volatile is about 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Here's what was discovered. If you heat water above 170 degrees, cool it down and drink it, you get a reaction, like a white blood cell reaction as if you ate cooked food. If you heat water below 170, cool it down, and then drink it, you have no reaction. That was figured out by Paul Kuchkoff, the same guy who figured out that if more of your diet is cooked than raw, you'll get a white blood cell reaction every time you eat, which is a crying wolf reaction, which causes an autoimmune condition. This is really important. You shift over to live food, you got to be careful about your immune system. That's why the medicinal mushrooms come in. Because what's happened your whole life, every time you've eaten cooked food, your immune system's gone activated. And what that means is like, oh, crisis, cried wolf, we got to go fix this. And then what happens is your body always is on red alert all the time about the immune system. You eat raw food and your immune system goes, oh, whoa, we don't have to do anything. And it can become lazy, and then you can be hit with something. You have to be careful. Because, again, eating cooked food causes an autoimmune disorder. Because every time we eat cooked food, our white blood cells are activated like there's an intruder. Our whole life, since we're a child, baby.
So the mushrooms activate the immune system.
And the mushrooms activate the immune system. Make sure your immune system doesn't get lackadaisical. Because that's what does happen. You eat live food, your immune system becomes lackadaisical because it's not on red alert every day. And what that causes is your body may actually become so your immune system may become so lackadaisical that you can become susceptible. Kind of an interesting concept there, and that's important to know. I've seen that over the years. That's why we always got to be really vigilant about our immune system, because our immune system isn't an auto. We're already born in America with the food that we ate. We're in an autoimmune disorder condition. Okay, let's get back to this right here real quick. You would make a tea by heating it up to 140 degrees, maybe, not even that, 120 degrees, which, by the way, the 118 thing with live food is totally all wrong. It's more like 150 or 170 degrees is what you have to actually heat something to for a while before you start actually breaking it down. Most stuff is roasted 300 degrees for 2 hours, so it's way, way out of bounds. That's the research we've been doing with Dr. Gabriel Cousins, is actually finding out what is that key temperature that kind of causes food to finally lose its enzymes and go out. And it's not 118 or 112, it's more like 150 degrees. And with some things like cacao, it's 170 degrees. Coconut, 170, because those are tropicals. And the actual temperature of that substance can reach 130, 140 in the tropical jungle at the surface of the coconut itself. So it has to be able to be resistant to those temperatures. Okay, so then, our whole theory of temperature is all wrong too. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. Our whole temperature thing. And the temperature, what about the temperature right at the very, 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 very surface of the flax cracker? It's actually, it could be up to 200 degrees in there, but the temperature right at the very, very, very surface of the flax cracker is only 128. Isn't that funny? Okay. So you take all those herbs, say make tea out of it. Now you've got a ridiculously powerful silica-rich herbal tea, which tastes good. It tastes good. You'd like it. You'd be like, I could do this every day, all day. And you should be doing that every day, all day. Especially if you're concerned about quote-unquote osteoporosis, which is, really it's a manufactured illness. It doesn't really exist. Once you get on the right kind of program, it just goes away. And I forgot what are people worried about again? Don't we want to be there? We want to be out of FEAR, don't we? We're into HOPELOVE. What happens then? You then take that, you blend it with cacao. What's in cacao? Cacao is the highest natural source of magnesium that there is. There is no plant that has a higher source of magnesium. Look at the imagery of cacao. I just want you to look at this image. This is an image of a raw cacao fruit. Oh, that's the wrong file. Get that off there. This is an image of raw cacao fruit. See where this is. I think that's it. Okay.
Wow.
That gives a little bit of a look at it. Doesn't that look like teeth? Do you see it now? Now, normally, this was cut in half, so these beans were actually cut in half. If this wasn't actually cut, what you would see in here is white, pulpy, surrounded cacao beans that look just like teeth. I can show you that image. It might take me a second to dig it up, but I can dig that up.
What does that say
Here
about
it is. This
corn?
is it. Watch this. Look closely at this image. I'm going to take you to the middle, right there. There's a cacao fruit split in half, and there's the pearly whites on the inside. There is a relationship historically between really healthy, strong teeth and chocolate. In fact, we now know for a fact that with the chemistry of chocolate, theobromine, for example, kills the organisms that cause cavities. The next wave of tooth care products, watch, mark my words. Don't believe me? Remember I said this, and in 6 months, call me. Here's what's coming in next. Chocolate toothpaste. Chocolate toothpaste is coming in because cacao kills the cavities, the stuff that causes cavities. Also, cacao has magnesium. And when you take silica and magnesium, what does your body do with those two minerals? It forms calcium. So you create strong teeth. Anybody read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the book? You will notice in that book, go back and reread it. Look at the Oompa Loompas who live on cacao beans. And by the way, they live on cacao beans. They don't live on cocoa beans. They don't live on cocoa. They don't live on chocolate. They live on cacao beans. It's in the book. Read the book. And that right. When I read that, I got chills. I got it. Chapter 16 of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Read it, please. I got chills. I thought, okay, Roald Dahl knew. He knew the truth. He knew the truth. And in there's an extra exceptional mention that the Oompa Loompas had very rich, pearly white teeth. It's mentioned over and over again. And then Charlie's dad, if you recall, worked in a toothpaste factory. There's a relationship between chocolate and the teeth, and it's a really good one. Raw foodists over the years, I cannot tell you how many like natural hygiene raw foodists who tried to eat fruit only and had teeth trouble and got demineralized, and people who said, oh, I only eat celery or whatever, end up with really serious teeth problems. I cannot tell you how many people over the years I've seen that. If you want to just get rid of that forever, eat cacao and it gets rid of all those problems forever. You don't have teeth problems anymore. You don't have to worry about your demineralization of your teeth. You just get it's over with, gone. All the precursors necessary to build the dentin and the bone. Now we add another ingredient.